Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, Dr. Donna. Welcome to Turnaround Tactics. Today's topic is unaccountable parents. Do you have unaccountable parents? Are you an unaccountable parent? Well, we're going to find out. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably saying, yeah, my mama don't never listen to me. My daddy get on my nerves. They always trying to make me do something. They a bunch of hypocrites. And that's not what I'm actually talking about today. So I used to tell my daughter this all the time. You didn't come with instructions. You did not come with instructions. And you are 50% me and you are 50% of your dad. So what makes parents do unaccountable things? Well, here's what happens, ladies and gentlemen. I have a mother, a stepfather, and I had a father, and I have 4 sets of grandparents. So been around some parents doing some parenting. Most of my friends or people that I went to high school with and college with are also parents. There's only one person that I went to high school with, was one of my college roommates. She's the only one of us that doesn't have any children. So I have a lot of experience being around parents. And here's the thing. Most parents become the parent that they wanted. I'm going to say that again. Most parents become the parent that they wanted. So, for example, I'll use myself. When I graduated from high school, my mother kept my high school diploma and she had it on display in the house. When I graduated from college, she kept my college diploma and had it on display at her house. So I graduated from high school in 1991 and I graduated from college in 1995. And I did not get to have either one of those diplomas until 2009. Now that is absurd. I worked my behind off. I wanted my diplomas, but I didn't get to keep them. And so finally I asked her probably in 2018, why did she do that? Why did she keep them? And she didn't even know what they were in. I had my high school diplomas in business administration and my bachelor's degree is in public law and government. So she never looked at them. She didn't know what I majored in or anything like that. She just displayed them. And her response was, well, when I graduated from high school, well, she called them mama and daddy. Mama and daddy didn't put my diploma up, and that really hurt me. So she thought that she was actually doing something by displaying them, when in fact, I wanted to keep my own diploma, both of my diplomas. And so that's what happened. So I'll use myself again. And my daughter, I was raised in Michigan. I always only had one jacket. If you look up the temperature in Michigan, it's always cold. I used to have to catch the cheese to middle school. I had to catch the city bus to high school. And even in college, I never had the right coat. So when my daughter was born, I made sure that she had the proper coat. She always had coats for school and coats for church and coats for every occasion because I was cold. Now, I'm not like most parents because I didn't become the parent that I wanted to be. I became the parent that my daughter needed. But that's a hard thing to do because if your parents were the parents that they wanted, then you're going to become the parent that you want because you didn't get what you needed. So as you sit around and you think about your parents, whether you're a teenager, whether you're an adult, if you really just look at what they thought was important, it's like, I worked so hard and I made sure that you had everything you wanted for Christmas. But you might have just wanted, for me, I just wanted to have dinner every day at the table. And that never occurred. So that's kind of unaccountability when it comes to parenting. I needed a desk, but my mother got me 2 twin beds so that when I would have company over, they would have a bed to sleep in. But I was an introvert, so I kind of wanted a desk because I had to go to school and I had a lot of hard classes. I would have preferred that that space be used for a desk. So again, parents will tell you, as I told my daughter, you didn't come with instructions. And so it becomes very difficult. Another thing that happens that parents do that's unaccountable is they favor the sibling that's either exactly like them or that's nothing like them. And that creates sibling rivalry. And that's unfortunate too. Now, how do we get there? How do we get to unaccountable parents? Now that I'm 50 years old, my daughter will be 21 next month. What I realize is this is what happens. Parents get together, most parents get together, and they say this sentence. We love these sentences. We love each other so much. Let's express our love. Let's have a baby. And then that's how you end up here in most cases. Some people might be oops, we didn't know you was coming. But for the most part, people say, let's have a baby. And everybody's excited. And now it's less weddings going on, but there are these gender reveal parties. It's a boy, it's a girl, we don't want to know. And now there are all these photos of these, cuckoo, look at the little cute little baby. And then you start talking about all these things you're going to do with your kids. We're going to go to the park. We're going to go to the park, and we're going to go to the zoo, and we're going to put them in private school. We're going to put them in sports. We're going to do all of this. And so here's what I will tell you. If you don't have children yet, this works out perfect for you. And if you do, there's still time to fix some stuff. This is the situation. When you make a commitment with another human being that you are going to bring another human being into this world or adopt another human being, here is what you're actually doing. You are raising an adult. I'm going to say that again. You are raising an adult. You have to get this person from 0 to 25. And why 25? It's not 18, and I know what the law says, because when you turn 13, you get a new frontal lobe. And so that's why teenagers start making stupid, crazy decisions, and it confuses the parents. But you get your second brain, basically, and it's not developed. The science says it's between the ages of 23 and 25. That's when you get your complete brain. So you actually need somebody around that already has a complete brain. So when you hear people say, we're having a baby, wrong idea. Wrong idea. It's a lifetime commitment. The clock starts over after your child turns 18 and becomes an adult. And it's your responsibility to continue the relationship, but definitely until the age of 25. And that's the issue. And that's why parents become unaccountable, because they just thought about having a baby. We're going to have some children. We're going to raise some kids. But you can't do that. You have to raise responsible adults. And I have on my YouTube channel, I talk about the 5-year plan and how you have to give your children. How do you think children have affected parents in many ways? Okay, here's what I will say. And I just read the book, and it's in my phone. Unfortunately, the quote is in my phone. But I just read the book, Covert Cows and Chick-fil-A. And the author of that book was the CMO for Chick-fil-A. And basically what he said is that children are supposed to make parents better people, believe it or not. So the fact that my mother decided, well, I sacrificed my life to have you when I didn't ask to come here, that's not how that actually works. So children are supposed to give you growth opportunities as a parent to allow you to become a better person and thereby causing them to become a better person. That's what's actually supposed to happen. And I actually did that, even though I came from a very dysfunctional family. So when someone says we're going to have a baby, I talked about this on a live yesterday. That's a dumbass plan, because babies turn into toddlers, tweens, teenagers, and adults. So when you make this very serious decision, you thinking that, oh, look at this now, look at my little twin, my little heartbeat. And I don't know if you noticed this, but there's all these photos and all these matching pajama photos and all of these things. And then kids get to the 7th grade, they turn 12 or 13, and the parents kind of ghost them because they're going through puberty and they might look a little hideous. And then you don't see another photo until they graduate from high school. And then you don't see another photo until they graduate from college. Then you don't see another photo until they get married. And then they have some grandkids. And that's it. Because parents start checking out round about the 7th grade time frame. And now it's up to you. And when parents actually need to be present, and this is what I tell all people who are expecting babies or think that they're ready to have children, I tell them the 5 most important years of a child's life is 13 to 18. Because that's where they're making these pivotal life decisions that are going to affect the rest of their lives. There is no 2-year-old that's going to commit a crime other than pooing on themselves or throwing something on the floor, marking up the wall. 13 to 18, you're getting out of school at 1 or 2 o'clock. If you're not in sports, you're home for at least 4 to 5 hours before your parents get there. And that is where peer pressure starts. And that is where all of the negative things in the world get introduced. And the parents have checked out. That is unaccountability. But nobody ever told me that. So I had to get through my daughter getting all the way to 18. And fortunately, I quit my corporate job when she was in the 2nd grade. I was able to be there. But I noticed that difference. When she turned 13, she just started making dumb decisions. I was like, who is this child? That's when I did the research to find out about the frontal lobe. And then I realized when she turned 18, the clock starts over because now she's an adult. And she's turning 21 next month. So she's got 4 more years before her brain is fully functioning. But parents aren't thinking about that. They think, oh, look at all this stuff I did. We had all these great vacations and I gave them the best of this. And they got every Xbox, every sneaker, everything. But they don't have the skill sets that they need. So I was in the military, went to Korea for 1 year as a platoon leader, came back to the States. I could use all my money as I saw fit, and then I had to start paying rent and electric and water. And I said this on a previous live, so I called my mother, and I was like, man, I got to pay rent, I got to pay car note and all this. She was like, yep, you do need to budget your money. And that was our financial conversation. There was no, well, wait, how much you get paid? Let's sit down. How much is your rent? Well, you got to put some money in savings. We did. So I had to literally go to some people that I knew in the military to sit down to help me budget my money. But that was her responsibility, because instead of having a baby, she should have been focused on raising a responsible adult. And that's why parents are unaccountable. And then you hear this. So my cousin went to college. My aunt was an LPN, a licensed practicing nurse is what it is. And she went to college after we were born to go be a registered nurse, and she never finished. And her answer, and she's 80 now, her response was, well, I had to pay for your cousin to go to school, and so we didn't have enough money. But he's 49, I'm 50. She still never went back to school. And that's the other thing that unaccountable parents do. They guilt you into doing stuff that they should have done. So my mother never went to college. She forced me to go to college, but I like school, so I have 3 degrees. And then her and my stepfather were trying to force my daughter to go to college, but that my daughter doesn't like school. She's doing great in her business, but they were getting ready to force her, and neither one of them have degrees. That's unaccountable. If you feel like college is that important to you, you are the one who needs to go to college. You're the one that needs to sit there and listen to those nonsensical lectures for 4 years to get the degree. But they go to work and they say, I sacrificed and I worked for 40 years to make sure you had everything you need. But they kind of stopped parenting at 13. So did they really actually keep parenting? And here's the way I see it. I don't celebrate. Unfortunately for me, I severed the relationship with my mother. But here is the thing. Let's look at this real leader math, ladies and gentlemen. So your parents take care of you from 0 to 18. In theory, right? But that's what the law says. So they don't want to go to jail. And they don't want you to get taken from them. So they're doing what the law told them to do. So why should they get Mother's Day and Father's Day presents for doing the law says food, shelter, and school? So they want credit for following the law. Absolutely not. Here is my opinion. Mother's Day and Father's Day should start at 19. Because at that point, now they're doing something that they no longer are legally obligated to do. And that's probably going to piss a bunch of parents off, but I don't really care. Because after I turned 18, for 30 more years, my mother received Mother's Day presents and birthday presents when she stopped parenting me when I was 11. Why? Well, because I had you and I sacrificed. Again, children don't ask to be born. That's a decision that parents make. So you decided to have a baby, and now you're supposed to be raising responsible adults, but you're derelict in your duties, but you still want to be celebrated once a year for doing a terrible job. So for me, I don't work at Frito-Lay anymore. I'm not expecting a paycheck from Frito-Lay, even though I worked for them for 9 years and 10 months. But I don't get a Frito-Lay paycheck. So this is the way I see it. And I don't celebrate Mother's Day, so I'm not expecting anything from my daughter. I chose to have her. But for the mothers and the fathers who keep expecting Mother's Day and Father's Day gifts, are you still parenting? If your adult child comes to you wanting advice, do you actually have the information for them? Are you still picking and choosing what they should and shouldn't be doing? Are you still judging them? When I quit my corporate job, my mother was pissed. But that job landed me in the hospital on portable oxygen and an EKG, and they were trying to give me drugs to put some potato chips on a truck. So she was not on board with me quitting the corporate job that she told me to get, that she never prepared me for. She just thought I should still stay there because I had a good corporate job with some good benefits. So that's unaccountable parenting. I go to these appointments with my daughter and I'm teaching her how to build a business based upon the principles of the E-Myth Revisited. I homeschooled her because her high school in the suburbs that was supposed to be great sucked. And we laughed and said we would never do homeschool, but we actually did because that was the best decision for her. So when parents start talking about the sacrifices that they made for you, it should be actually something that's for you and not for them. So if you decide that you want to go be a monk somewhere, your parents, if they actually are loving and supporting you, they should be supporting you. If your corporate job is killing you, they should not be saying, well, you can just take a pill. It's not going to be that bad. And, everybody's stressed out. And it's just, but absolutely not. Again, parents want to have a baby. They don't want to raise responsible adults. They don't want to raise responsible adults. I was the only person in my family that was actually in management. And I would call my mother, who was a government employee, and I would be like, man, this is killing me. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And she'd be like, just take a day off. How am I? What is a day off going to do with some employees that's stealing that I got to decide the fate of them? So since she had never fired an employee, she didn't talk to anybody at her job in management about firing an employee. She couldn't help me. So now I'm sitting here like, dang, I got to do this thing. And now I got to fire these people. And this doesn't feel good, but I can't go to her. So I'm going to use my daughter and I as an example. My daughter does furniture assembly, general mounting, and all kind of stuff. All this physical work. And that talent came from my ex-husband and my dad. They were never good they didn't turn it into actual profitable business. So when she turned 18, she's a Millennium Scholar in Nevada. You can go to college for free, and you have up to 6 years to use a scholarship. She decided that she wanted to go to work, so we tried a bunch of different things, and she signed up for TaskRabbit. That worked for her, and now she has assembled, and so she does all these amazing things. Now, if you read my book or if you've been on a previous live, I don't assemble anything. That's not what I do. And I'm a germaphobe from the military, because you can sleep in a tent, one person sneezes, we all sick. So she decides she wants to start a business February of 2021. Do y'all remember what was going on in February of 2021? We were still on lockdown from COVID, and it was assembly. Now, I don't assemble anything, and I'm a germaphobe, and she didn't have her driver's license. So at first I was just driving her to the appointments and sitting in the car because we couldn't go anywhere because it was 2021. And sometimes it was too far away from the house. And then she started putting big things together. So she's 5'2.5", 105, 106 pounds. So now she needs my long arms. So now I'm going into people's houses with my mask on. And I'm in the middle of a global pandemic assembling things. Now these are two things that I swore I'm not doing. But because that is my child and this is something that she wanted to do and she needed to do, I overrode being a germaphobe and putting things together. And I'm helping her. I'm putting the wheels on, backwards on drawers. Definitely, I'm like, what is this? I had to teach her how to book appointments so that they weren't on top of each other. I had to teach her how to go to the door and talk to people, set up her whole business model, because my ex-husband never did that part. So he's a parent. We should have just been able to call him in Mississippi. Hey, come set this up. And I should have been able to sit at home. But he didn't have the business acumen. He didn't have the ability to do it. And I did. So I had to override not being able to assemble things, override my germophobia to get her to the place that she is now. That's what accountable parents do. So if your parents aren't overriding, and to go to that person's original question about parents and kids, children. So I had to overcome two things that have been obstacles in my life: fear of assembling things and fear of germs. That's what children are there for. So they're there so that there is this exchange. So because I knew how to operate a business, because of all of my other experiences, we have an exchange. So when she's at an appointment, she is the boss. I am the assistant. She tells me what to do. Hold this, lift this, do this. And when we go home, I'm telling her, these are the things that you need to do and improve. That's what a parent-child relationship actually is. It's a team. It actually is a family. And so for all you unaccountable parents out there, don't keep blaming your children if you didn't give them the skills that they need to be successful. So I've always told my daughter, I'm never going to be upset with you for something that I didn't teach you. But if I taught it to you and I teach at the best level and you mess it up, now we're going to have a problem, because I already gave you the system for that. And that's the problem. So you have parents, I'm a Generation X, and they're like, social media is stupid. I ain't doing that technology stuff and all of that. And then they want to sit in their chair and go to their job. At this point, we would be at our job almost 30 years. And they want to tell you all the things that you're doing wrong when they go to the job and they just do the same thing. So if they're not willing to do this current thing, and so for me, I am always about learning. So I know more who are the popular people who are out now, and not just the people on the news, but the people that are kind of underground and the things that you need to do by being on this live. I have a corporate background and a military background, so I shouldn't even be doing a TikTok live. I shouldn't have 8,800 YouTube videos, because I was already Dr. Donna before social media really started popping off. But because I have this child that my ex-husband and I decided to have, I have to keep growing forward for her. So there have been times when I have been the oldest person at the appointment and wisdom kicks in. So I'm there and we're trying to figure out what to do. And I'm saying, oh, we need to do this. And it could be based upon something that I learned in 2002. So it's not that we don't have information. It's that we haven't updated our information. And then we want all this. And I'm saying we as parents want all this praise and accolades for having you and then kind of raising you from 0 to 13, letting you sit in our house from 13 to 18, and then sending you off in the world unprepared. That's why I have that video that says 5 years ahead. So when my daughter was 4, I'm teaching her things that she's going to need at 9. Right now, she's 21. I'm teaching her things that she's going to need at 26. And she said this the other day, I've never gotten to something and not been prepared. And your parents are unaccountable because how many times have you gotten to something unprepared? And then you get yelled at or demeaned or they laugh at you because you're failing, but it's their fault because they didn't equip you with what you actually needed. You need. And that's what I tell parents. If you have one or more children, you're going to have to parent them differently because they're going to need different things. My sister is 3 years older than me, and she's a Pisces. I'm a Taurus. She's out there floating around. She needed different things than I needed. I'm very disciplined. I was quiet. You tell me to do something once, I got it. I didn't like to get in trouble. Got very few whoopings, rarely ever on calibration. She was always in trouble. Always, always, always. Now she's 53, still causing problems. So she needed different parenting styles. And my mother basically parented us exactly the same. So we both left the house needing a bunch of stuff. And that's what I'm saying. So if you don't have children right now, number one, you are not having a baby. You are raising a responsible adult. And at minimum, it's a 25-year commitment. They say marriage is until death do you part, but parenting is until death do you part. Even if they move out of your house, they're still going to need you. And the other thing that I told my daughter is I said, I'm 29 and a half years older than you. I'm 29 and a half years older than you. So I should always be able to get to something before you. And even with technology, and she'll show me some things that I don't know that just because I'm an ex, but then as soon as she tells me, I didn't put my ex on it. And I'm like, oh, and you can do this. And that's how it should be. So I'm happy that housing prices are as high as they are and people think it's unfair. But what happens is when we go to appointments now, there are 3 generations of people living in the house. And it used to be that way. And it was designed that way on purpose so that in theory, grandparents who ain't trying to have a hot girl summer and a sugar daddy summer, but they actually got wisdom, can now teach the parents how to be parents. And the parents can teach the children how to be responsible adults. Isn't that interesting how that works? So that's why houses are 500,000, 700,000, and 1 million. Because when you combine the family, the legacy, see my hands? When you put the legacy together, and everybody's always like, oh, we just gonna leave a million. No. You need the wisdom and the information. So when grandma goes downstairs to make her sweet potato pie, her pumpkin pie, whatever it is, the whole family can come in the kitchen and watch her and get the message. You can sit down at the table and have family dinner. When you have a problem, you can say, well, mama, what did you do? And grandma can say, well, baby, you know what I did was, and granddaddy can say, okay, well, come on over here. And in theory, provide wisdom. But that's not what's happening. Why? Because 60 is the new 40, 40 is the new 20, and 20 is snatched and all of that. And that's why we can't get anything accomplished. And that's why people have, to quote that Asian guy, emotional damage. That's what's happening because we forgot what's important. We forgot to actually be a family. We forgot to be parents. We forgot to be, or neglected. I won't say forgot, have just made the decision that we're not doing that. Don't call me grandma. Call me Gigi. Call me little mama. Call me Mimi. I'm too young to be a grandmother. Then why did you encourage your children to have children? Because my mother encouraged me to have a grandchild because she was born in her 50s. Yeah, well, you should go ahead and have a baby. You old enough. And I love my daughter, but that was her idea. She ain't helped. She ain't really contributed a lot whatsoever. Still ain't did a homework assignment with my daughter or me. When I used to drop my daughter over there, especially if I had to travel, she would be like, well, is her homework done? Did she make, because my daughter's quite intelligent and the homework was actually extensive. But if you didn't do homework with your children, you damn sure ain't gonna be able to do homework with your grandchildren. But we on birthdays and take pictures and be on Facebook, making it seem like you're doing some stuff that you actually not doing. That's what's actually happening right now. So yes, parents are unaccountable, but grandparents are unaccountable too. And that's the problem. And everybody is checking out. My daughter had the shock of her life when she graduated from high school a year early during COVID 2020. And everybody kind of just disappeared. And it was time for her to decide if she was going to college or going to the workforce. And guess who was there? Moi, uno, me, eins. That's it. Everybody else just kind of checked out. And then when she was struggling in TaskRabbit, nobody wasn't really paying attention to her, wasn't messing with her. And then she started, increasing her rate and getting more. And now she's elite and all this other stuff. And now everybody was like, oh, yeah, you're doing good. Bro. No. Y'all didn't, as I think it's Oprah that said, if you don't want to ride the bus with me, you definitely ain't getting in the limo with me, because that happens too. So I'm struggling through college, can't read, trying to figure that out, struggling as a commissioned officer. I'm from Detroit. Wasn't no polish on me. When I got to OBC, I was saying ax instead of ask, and they were laughing at me. So for 2 months, I went back to my quarters and just kept saying ask. Because in the Midwest, we dropped the endings off of words and we turn THs into Fs and we say in instead of ing. So they thought it was funny. I'm calling my mother, telling her that, and her words was, don't pay no attention to them, they stupid. I'm a commissioned officer. I need to have a polished presentation when I'm presenting and talking to people. So I had to learn how to speak effectively. I know when I'm throwing the endings off the words now, and I had to do CIMT, Toastmasters, and a bunch of other things in order for me to be able to communicate with people from different countries. I was stationed in Korea. I had 10 Korean soldiers. So my Detroit accent and their Korean accent, we're trying to speak English. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't work, but she wasn't there. But the expectation, especially if you have boomer parents, is that you excel. Whether they were there to help you or not, that's unaccountable parenting. That is not how you parent your child. And you damn sure don't deserve something for your birthday or Mother's Day or Father's Day if you're still not doing your job. If you are no longer employed at an organization, like I am not at Frito-Lay, why are you getting the gift? You didn't ask to come here. And now, if you do well, so there was a time when I definitely was doing well, and I'm dropping off $400 Coach bags to her. Here you go, for no reason. Here's $1,000 watch. Here you go. And she got ink marks. I come back and I'm like, she's like, hand me my purse. I'm like, where the hell is this ink mark on this purse from? Well, I wear my badge or whatever. So I'm like, so I done went and worked my butt off trying to make you proud, then gave you a $400, $500 purse, and you got an ink mark on it, and you gonna dismiss it. When I was a kid, if I had got a hole in my pants that you could only buy me 5 outfits for school, we got problems. But somehow you can destroy something that I gave to you after working hard without having your help, and now you gonna just brush it off. I got on jeans from JCPenney's, and you got a $500 purse. So what I'm saying is, for all of the people who have unaccountable parents, I had an unaccountable parent too. Parents, my stepfather, mother, and father, unaccountable. Now, we don't get to choose our parents and we don't get to choose our family, but we do have a choice as we become adults. So I could have carried this lack of parenting and unaccountable parenting forward and did the same thing to my daughter, and that's the definition of insanity. So if you have experience, because you might, senior millennials have kids now too, and kids that could potentially be adults. Don't even take it out on the people coming behind you, because I always say, let it end and begin with me. So somebody has to start being accountable. And that's why personal accountability is so important, because people just think of it as, oh, I pay my bills. Oh, my kids didn't get harmed. They graduated. And the term that I hate is empty nesters. Everybody's always celebrating the empty nest. Empty nesters. So like you retired yourself from being a parent. Bring my grandbabies over here. No. Because what's going to happen is you're going to get old, and now you're going to want somebody to take care of you. But if you didn't take care of me correctly for the first 18 years, why should I make sure you're okay in your senior years? Parents ain't thinking about that. It's a two-way street. Point blank. Then they say, I don't know why they always putting people in nursing homes. Why should I, if I had to raise myself, I had to raise my own kids, why should I sacrifice more of my life to make sure the end of your life is better when you didn't make sure the beginning of my life was good? And that's how I see that. Point blank, period. But parents aren't thinking, because they're definitely not being accountable. So for all of the parents, if there are any parents on this call and you find that I said something to you that stung, when I used to go to church, they used to say, if you can't say amen, say ouch, say ouch. Because I see too many parents doing what they want to do, forcing kids to do things that makes them look good. Go be in sports, Go be in medicine. Go be a lawyer. And then remember when parents used to be like, influencers are stupid and that's not a real job? And now all these influencers are doing all this stuff for their parents. And now they're telling you, go make a video. Go make a video. Why you can't be on social media more? We got to get some bags and all of that. Absolutely not. The job of a parent is to raise a responsible adult. And as these growth opportunities show up, in my case, doggone global pandemic and assembly, and there have been other things. My daughter had honors geometry too, and I had it, and I struggled with it. And she had this big test when she was taking honors geometry, and her teacher literally took a cruise. And we had questions and everything, and the teacher wasn't available. We had to go to the library to get a geometry book. And now I'm going back 30 years trying to remember a class that I struggled in, but it's okay because I passed the class, but she ended up with a B, and now I got to go back. But that's what parents are supposed to do. So when you're bringing something to your parents' attention and they kind of push you away, that's their growth opportunity. And the fact that they're pushing you away was because they didn't deal with it when they were your age, and they don't want to deal with it now that they're their age. But that's 100% unacceptable because that's what happens. 50% is from the dad, 50% is from the mom. So you're going to create a half of a person. And so my sister is the bad side of my dad. I'm the good side of my dad. And so depending on what was happening, if my mother was drinking and smoking, she was resonating with my sister. If she was sober, then she was resonating with me. And she never told us, this is from your dad, this is from me. And that's why with my daughter, I'm like, oh, you can't read and spell? You know that's from Gigi. And we're going to do something about that. And we did. And so because I struggled with reading, when my daughter was in the first grade, we used to sit at the dining room table and she's like, can. Then I was like, oh my God, now I got to teach somebody how to read. This is so unfair. Why did this lady deal with this? But that's not what parents do. They do what they want to do. They take the vacations that they want to take. They buy you what they want to buy you. They don't buy you what they want to buy you. Sometimes it's what you need and sometimes it's not. They send you to the school that they want you to go to, regardless if it's the school that you want to go to. And then they put all this pressure on you and tell you how much they've sacrificed for you, and you didn't even ask to come here. You didn't even ask to come here. And I have another video that says, everybody in the house needs a family scorecard, and you need 3 to 5 things that you're graded on. And just like you get progress reports and report cards, every 6 weeks, you sit down and the things that everybody agreed upon, all the other family members get to rate you. Because what parents do is they tell you what a good parent they are, but they never ask you if they're doing a good job. But when you have a job, especially if you're in management, they review your performance. You have to write what you did. You sit down with your manager, and now they say, okay, here is the metrics that you should have accomplished. How did you do against those metrics? And now let's see what you're actually doing. And that's what actually takes place. But why don't it take place in the family? Because because parents don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear that, you know what, you're not real. My mother was a terrible cook, so much so that I started cooking myself at 13. I was like, I got it. Absolutely not. I'm not going to keep eating French cut string beans out the can in this ravioli. She used too much garlic salt, burning stuff and everything. And then she want to ask you, how was it? It was nasty. Look at it. Does it even look appetizing? It was nasty. But if you talk to her to this day, and I have said these things to her, so I ain't talking about her behind her back, because that ain't what I do. I'm going to tell it to your face so you know how I feel. And she will tell you she did the best that she could. She did the best that she could under the circumstances. And her whole thing was, well, your daddy ain't here. She didn't get remarried till I was 19. Your daddy ain't here. So you the constellation prize? So because he ain't here, you get credit for just being here when this was your idea? Absolutely 100% not. Absolutely not. So I am telling any parent, and if you want, I'm going to put this on my YouTube channel at some point this weekend. So if you want to send your parents this video, you go right ahead. And I double dog dare any damn parent to say some nonsense to me, because if this hurt your feelings, it should hurt your feelings. If you're doing a terrible job, and it's not the parents in the hood, it's the parents that's sitting in these $400,000, $500,000, $700,000 houses paying tuition and everything else, y'all doing a terrible job. Y'all unaccountable, and you want to make it seem like because everybody got good credit and you take these family vacations and you got these matching pajamas on that you're doing the right thing. You're not. Your children are emotionally damaged, and they don't even have the skills. You're not teaching them about money management. You're not teaching them about how to have healthy relationships with each other. You're not doing any of that, but you want credit because everybody got what they need. They got name brand stuff, and you getting ready to go on a holiday, and you're doing and everybody got the game, and you got 90,000 big TVs in the house and everything else. But what's missing is connection. What's missing is love. Your children can't come to you and talk about stuff because you lying about the fact that you used to be a loosey-goosey and a playboy, and now you're holy filled, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost, and you don't know where these little wild children came from. Lucky wasn't no footage back in the day, but definitely they are a reflection of you. So unaccountable parents want you to be accountable because they made the decision to have you, but they didn't make the decision to raise you into a responsible adult and give you what you need. So don't feel bad if it's already happened and you're already an adult, because you can heal yourself. You have the ability to change the trajectory of your family going forward. If you want to make some of the decisions that I made, if you want to say, listen, you're fired. If you were rehiring everybody in your family, would you rehire them in the positions that they're currently in? I fired everybody, and I told them the only position that I'm hiring for is real leaders. If you want to be back in my life, you take your butt through RL 365, you hold yourself personally accountable for 365 consecutive days, and then I can tell you what position that I'm actually hiring for. I can let you know. But the minimum requirement to be in my personal life or any interaction with me is that you go through RL 365. So once you become an adult, you have the right to say, I don't want you in my life anymore because you're not fulfilling my needs. And I don't care about this familial relationship that we're supposed to have because you didn't do a good job. And for all the parents who are there that are actually doing your job, you ain't offended because you know you're doing your job, and I'm not talking to you. But I am talking to about 85% of the parenting population, maybe even 90%, because you're not doing what you're supposed to do. And you're the one keeping the scorecard. And if you want to have and then you hear those parents, well, they grown, they don't never want to come home no more. Every time I call them, they tell me they're busy. Why? Why would they do that? Because people that you like and you want to have a relationship with, you actually have a relationship with them. You actually talk to them. But if you didn't talk to your children when they were there and you didn't support them and love them the way they needed to be loved and supported, why would they want to talk to you as an adult? You got your answer. So all of the parents that are here, my recommendation is a family scorecard. And everybody gets an individual scorecard, and you look at it every 6 weeks and you ask each other, how am I doing? That's going to end sibling rivalry. That's going to end conflict. And it's going to give everybody in the household the skills that they need in order to be healthy, functioning adults. Because that's what it's about. You spend most of your life as an adult. So every now and then there's some kids around, but most of us are adulting, and that's the issue. And you can't bring up anything. You can't talk. The lines of communication are not open, and and nobody is respecting each other. And the last thing that I would like to end on is this. However you're born in the family, you have to keep that place in the family. So I'm the youngest, so I'm supposed to function as the youngest, but I'm the most educated, the most experienced, the most healthiest, the soberest one who's never been to treatment, and don't nobody want to listen to me and do what I say do, but I'm the leader of the family. So they don't want to listen to me when there's a problem taking place. Now, let's call Dr. Donna so she can fix it. Absolutely not. The roles have to change. When I am at an appointment with my daughter, she is the boss. She is the person in charge. I am the assistant, and that's how it goes. And we get comments all the time from people saying, oh, you guys work so well together. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. And because she's in the LGBTQI with A, sometimes they think I'm her partner. I'm like, no, I'm not her partner. I'm her mother. That's not what's happening. And I have no issue with that. Let's be clear. But I'm just clearing it up for them so that they understand why a mother and a daughter can actually work well cohesively together with no friction. Even with my resume, it's like that's not why we're here. I'm here to support her because this is her dream and this is what she wants to do. So does anybody else have anything else? I don't see things going up, but I'm getting ready to get out of here because we have stuff to do today. So in summary, if you are going to have a child, if you decide you're going to have a baby, remember that you're actually raising a responsible adult. You're actually raising a responsible adult. You're actually raising a responsible adult. And it's a commitment at a minimum from 0 to 25 so that that person has complete access to their frontal lobe. But it actually is a lifetime commitment. You could actually get divorced, but as a parent, it's a lifetime commitment. And my parents didn't seem to understand that, which is why the relationship has been severed. So you don't get the right to parent how you feel like without asking for feedback to say, how am I doing as a parent? And that's absolutely incorrect. And so for those of you who are saying, well, my kids did it, don't worry, because tomorrow I'm coming for the children too, because they have a role and a responsibility as children and as adult children as well. I just started with the leaders in the family first. So does anybody have anything that they would like to say before I get out of here? Okay. You all have a great rest of your day, night, and evening. Adios.